Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome you all to Natal Computer College's second Cultural Day. Thank you all for attending, and without much further ado, we'll commence to the first item, which is by the Muslim Students Association.
Thank you, Madam MC. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and greetings to all of you in the name of Allah. The Muslim Student Association extends a warm and cordial welcome to our guest speaker, Mr. Ahmad Deedat, the staff and students of Natal Computer College. Mr. Deedat will be discussing the topic, the Quran and the computer. After his talk, students will be given the opportunity to ask Mr. Deedat any questions. Please feel free to ask him any questions whatsoever. Mr. Deedat.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, which means peace and blessings of God to each and every one of you. I feel privileged to come to speak to your computer college, and the subject that I have chosen is the Quran and the computer. Naturally, you are inquisitive, wanting to know that this book of Islam, the Holy Quran, which was revealed 1,400 years ago, did it have anything to say about the computer? Mr. Deedat, you ask, how do you fit in the Quran with the computer? I said, you see, for a long time I myself didn't see it. I have been reading the Quran in a translation form like this one, the Arabic text with the translation. And I have been reading verses, and they gave me some faint idea, but I didn't have a very clear picture until about 1975. How did it come about that I can see this relationship between the Quran and the computer? In 1975, I get a phone call from Zambia telling me that air tickets are waiting for me at the South African Airways. I must go and pick them up to visit Zambia on a lecture tour. So I rushed down to the center in Aliwal Street and Smith Street corner, South African Airways, and I go to the man at the reception, and I tell him that I have had a phone call from Lusaka, Zambia, telling me that an air ticket is waiting for me. I have come to pick it up. And I know what I was expecting. I was expecting a booklet, coupons. You know what air tickets look like? Those coupons. So I was expecting such a thing like that. So I asked him that, look, I have come for it. So he tells me, said, see one of these ladies. About a dozen of them were seated in a semicircular form with those terminals, visual terminals. Said, see one of these ladies there. How can you see one of those ladies? To me, only one person out of the lot might have my tickets. I know what tickets look like. So I'm asking him, which one? So the way the guy flays his hands, you know, and he tells me, like any one of them. I said, look, I'm speaking so nicely to the man. Why should he be so impolite? Is it because he's a white man and I'm an Indian? But I had no alternative. The way he directed me, I had to go. The first lady I saw who was doing nothing, she was sitting at the terminal. I go up to her. I said, excuse me, madam, I have had a phone call from Lusaka, and they tell me that there is an air ticket waiting for me. I have come to pick it up. She asked me, what's your name? So I tell her, my name is Ahmad Deedat. She says, spell it. So I started spelling it, A-H-M-E-D, Ahmad, D-E-E-D-A-T, Deedat. While I am spelling, she is typing on the keyboard before her. She said, yes. In other words, that means she's got it. Yes, so what now? So I said, you see, I want to go from Durban to Johannesburg in the evening, on a Tuesday evening. What have you got for me? What arrangements? She said, well, there is one at 6 p.m. I said, right, that suits me fine. Can you book me on? She said, yes, yes. It's done. So I tell her, you see, on Wednesday now, the next day, I want to reach Lusaka at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what my hosts in Zambia told me. I must arrive there at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I want to be there at 3 o'clock. Now, what arrangements can you make for that? So she typed again on the keyboard, and she's asking me, do you want to go through Maputo or through Gaborone? I said, look, it doesn't matter, as long as I'm in Lusaka at 3 p.m. So she types again, and she said, you see, you are booked on Zambian Airlines, and the other plane to transfer this ticket to this thing, we have to contact Zambian Airlines. And there is a national holiday in Zambia today, so we can't contact Zambian Airlines. So please come tomorrow. And you can imagine my disappointment walking from near the Mosque Madrasa Arcade to Smith Street and expecting the ticket in my hands, that it was almost within my reach, but not within my grasp. Disappointed. Come tomorrow. So I'm asking the lady, I says, madam, where did you get all this information from? So she tells me this is from the head computer in Johannesburg. I said, you know, when you were trying to book me in at the 6 o'clock flight, suppose there was only one seat left, and there were more than one of these terminals might have been trying to get the ticket. What happens then? He said, no, the first one within the second, he gets ahead, he gets a ticket, and the rest is blank. How does this happen? He said, you see, every computer in the country, which is connected with the head computer, has access to that knowledge. The head computer in Johannesburg. Everyone with this terminal has access to that. I said, I see. And I came out, walking back to my offices in Madrasa Arcade. While I'm walking back, the thought occurs to me that this is how this Quran was revealed. This Quran. And verse from the Quran, from the 85th chapter, the last verses 21 and 23, the last verses, tells me, بَلْ هُوَ قُرْآنٌ مَجِيدٌ فِي لَوْحٍ مَحْفُوظٍ, that nay, this is inscribed in the glorious Quran from a tablet preserved, from a preserved tablet. Now, if you have a volume like this, and if you want to know what the Quran says about the Quran, you open, just like in a dictionary, in Q, and just like in the index, Q, and it will tell you everything the Quran says about the Quran. I'll give you examples. Quran. The divisions of the Quran, how it's divided into chapters and verses. Inspired message cannot be produced by other than divine agency. Verses, fundamental and allegorical, these are all different topics. God is witness to the Quran. God's revelation, the Quran. Follow it and do right, the Quran. Respect and attention due to it. Book of wisdom, the Quran. It's in Arabic, the Quran. Described, and on and on and on. What does the Quran say about the Quran? The last subject in this index on the on the Quran, it says the tablet preserved. The tablet, this, when you have it, you'll be able to see it with your own eyes. It says tablet preserved, chapter 85, verses 21, 22. I read it to you. So the picture comes to me, this is how it happened. See, the whole picture comes along, the history of Muhammad, that he was in Medina, I have been reading, and a Christian deputation had come from Najran, an outskirt of Yemen. They had heard that another Arab now, he's claiming to be in communion with God, he's claiming to be a prophet. So these Christians, they said, let's go and see this another Arab, and we will question him, cross-examine him, wanting to know what does he know about religion. So they come to Medina, and they are housed in the mosque of the Prophet. They sleep in the mosque, they eat in the mosque, and they have a dialogue in the mosque for 3 days and 3 nights. It's going on. During the course of that discussion, the spokesman for the Christian is posing the question, among so many other things. He said, all right, now tell us, O Muhammad, what is your concept of God? And Muhammad, according to tradition, he doesn't just start answering. He, so to say, presses his spiritual buttons. There were no buttons to press. But I said, so to say, he presses his spiritual buttons, trying to commune with God. He said, oh my Lord, what shall I say? What shall I say? He could have made a case, like we do. At times when we are asked questions, we have no ready answers, so what do? We beat around the bush. We fumble to gather our thoughts. You see, it's like this, and it's like that, and so on. While we are talking, while we are trying to share, our thoughts are coming into focus. That's what we do. If I were to ask you, my children, what is 6 times 6? Immediate answer. I take it. 36. 6 6 36. I say, what is 12 times 12? You say 144. Because you have a ready answer. But if you didn't have a ready answer, what do? You say, well, you see, 6 times 6, you take 6 and you put 6 times 6, 6, 6, and we add, and 6 and 6 is 12, and 3, 6 is 18. And you are fumbling for the answer, but you will get it, but you fumble for it. That's how what we normally do. Muhammad doesn't do that. He could have said, you see, our concept of God is almost identical to yours. You see, you believe in the God of Abraham and the God of Moses and the God of... He said, well, we also believe... This is how we all talk. That's how we talk. Not so Muhammad. He's asked a question, and he must get it from the highest authority, from the head computer. So what he does, he presses spiritual buttons, and comes the answer through his mouth. He is the end terminal. Every prophet of God is an end terminal of that head computer, the knowledge of God. If you are that, you have access to that computer, the head computer, and you have a problem, and you commune, say, oh my Lord, what shall I say? He said, tell them, Moses was told, tell them, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill. You see? So he's telling them, from the head computer, whatever knowledge is given, the prophet of God, the man of God, he articulates them. So he wants to know, what shall I say? Comes the answer. You'll see it in the 112th chapter of the Quran. Amazing. You open that chapter, it begins. Qul huwallahu ahad. Say, he is God the one and only. Allahu samad, God the eternal absolute. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. He does not beget and is not begotten. Wa lam yakun lahu kufuwan ahad. And there's nothing like unto him. Finish. Whole chapter is finished. 4 verses. And back to normal. He said, you see, this is our concept of God. When he spoke, while he was speaking, the normal discussion was on a different level of speech. Now, when he's uttering those words, he's on a different level. قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ اللَّهُ الصَّمَدُ لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. And back to normal. He said, you see, this is our... Where did he get it from? He's asking. Oh my Lord. Nobody heard him. Nobody heard him say that. But he's asking, what shall I say? Comes the answer. I want you to see it in this book. It starts, say, he is God the one and only. Say, why? Say. A chapter begins, say, he is God the one and only. Why say? Because asked, what shall I say? Comes the answer, say, he is God the one and only. Now, this is how every verse of the Quran was revealed to the Holy Prophet Muhammad according to his needs from the head computer. He is the end terminal. As I said and I repeat, every prophet of God, every true messenger of God is that end terminal. We are not. We haven't got that facility. to make a direct contact with the head computer. Now, this preserved tablet, what is a tablet? To me, that screen is a tablet, a visual screen. Your blackboard is a tablet. Your whiteboard or your green board, on which you write, is a tablet. Your computer chip is a tablet. The tablet of stone on which Moses wrote the 10 Commandments is a tablet. Now, this tablet that God is talking about is not made of metal or stone or the silicone chip. It is a spiritual tablet, a spiritual knowledge. It is not material. Now, what do you want to know? What else do you want to know? This is some aspect of what the Quran says about the Quran. What do you want to know about the Muslims and about Islam? Everything is in this book. The easiest way to have access to this knowledge about the Muslim is the book. We ourselves, we might be confused. The Muslim can be confused on so many things. But if you want to know authoritatively, what does your book of authority, the Quran, say? So you go to the Quran. So if you open the index, some of the subjects, I'll just give you a quick glance at some of the subjects. This book, claiming to be from God, naturally, it must tell us everything about God that we can know. So, under G, look for God. There are more than 140 different references that you have access to from here, from this book, from this index. God. He is your protector. Chapter 2, verses 257 and onwards. He is the creator of all. He is most bountiful. He is merciful. He is most kind. He is beneficent. He is the orphan's shelter. He is the wanderer's guide. The guy's wandering around. He is a guide to him. He satisfies your needs. God present everywhere. He is unity. He is one, not one in a trinity. He is not one of two. He's got no begotten sons. He is wise. He is best disposed of affairs. He is most high great. He is irresistible. He is never unjust. He is exalted in power. He is free of all wants. He is worthy of all praise. And on and on and on. You want to know what does it say about man? Under M, look for man. Man means mankind, men and women. Man. Let's see what it says about man. Man. He is tested by God. He is being tested by God. In your behavior, what are you doing? How your mind is working? What you do? Things men covet. Things that men love most. And here, I might ask you, here, man as a male, I want you to tell me, if you can, what does he covet most? What does he love most? What does he want most? Huh? Money. Now, don't be afraid. There's no harm done. We won't disqualify you in your exams. Yes, my child. Materialistic. Power. Huh? Huh? Who said that? Who said that? What did she say? Woman. Yes, woman. Look, this is 1400 years ago. This man Muhammad is made to say, things men covet. I want you to look it up when you have this book. You will have this book. Each and every one of you will be entitled to this book free. I'll be giving it to you all free. This encyclopedia. So no use me tantalizing before you. You know that golden carrot? And says, you see, it's there, it's there, it's there. And he says, where do you get it? I say, you see, you go to the Islamic Propagation Center and you buy one. Now I want to do business with you. No, I'm not here to do business. So the Quran says, ذُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ حُبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. So fair in the sight of men is the love of things they covet. Number one, مِنَ النِّسَاءِ, of women. وَالْبَنِينَ, then your offsprings, your children. وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنْطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ, and hoarded heaps of gold and silver, and well-tilled land, and horses branded for excellence. These are the good things of this world's life, says the Quran. But the nearness to God is the best of goals to strive for. Number one, the greatest distraction for man is woman. And I'm telling the Westerner, you see, look, as the Westerner, he knows this better than us. The Westerner, he knows this. See, he exploits this weakness of man to the limit. Lucien Motors in Smith Street, Durban, they advertise second-hand trucks. But on the trucks that they advertise, there's a woman in the bikini on top of the truck. G Knots, they were in Field Street before, they've gone to North Dean now. G Knots, they sell farm implements. But on the tractors that they advertise, there's a woman in the bikini on top of the tractor. I'm asking, what has a woman in the bikini got to do with a second-hand truck or with a tractor? Now you tell me. Except the man. You know, he will be enticed to read. He'll be enticed to read because of that woman in the bikini. He wants to know, now what about her? So he reads about the tractor, he reads about second-hand trucks because of the woman in the bikini. Then BMW has beaten the lot. It's a motor car, from my understanding, a little better than the Mercedes-Benz. I have had my Volkswagen Beetle 4 times over. You know, I had the first one, 120,000 miles I did, and then next one and next one. Now they don't produce them anymore, those Beetles, you know. Now I had to buy a Golf. First Golf finished, then I had to buy a second Golf, and I got my second or third one now. I'm still not in the market for a BMW. I don't know about you, Mr. Maharaj, Natal Computer College. So, but I see the advert in our daily news, our local paper. BMW motor car, advertised. A picture of the BMW motor car. In front of the motor car, there's a woman in the skimpiest of bikini, what you call the tanga, you know, the G-string. And in front of the motor car, this woman is standing, you know, in a lustful, enticing pose. You know, you can almost hear her saying, come on, come on. And it is written at the bottom, test drive her now. Who? Who? The woman of the car. Who? Now you see what? I said I'm not in a market for it, but I had to read it. I had to read it. You blame me? I'm 73, but by God. Sorry, I've taken you off. Things men covet. You'll see it there. He's ungrateful, the ungrateful rich man. He is ever ungrateful. Leave out one to another. You know, we do some little favors for one another, and we expect some kind of gratitude. Fidelity, faithfulness. One of our South African poets, he describes it very beautifully, the ingratitude of man. He says, fidelity, faithfulness, is said to be a human attribute, which makes a modern gentleman distinguished from the brute. But that supreme fidelity, inborn in every hound, in every dog, which is the mark of man's best friend, in man is rarely found. This faithfulness, gratitude, the dog shows it. But mankind in general, the most ungrateful of people, one to another and to our Maker. If you are not grateful to our Creator, what is man to man? What? I give you this book, and I expect you to be, every time you say, Mr. Deedat, thank you very much, you know, for that book. I expect that from you? No, I don't expect it. I shouldn't expect, because if I expect that, I'll be disappointed in mankind. I won't do anybody any good at any time. Say, look, these are all ungrateful riches. Let them go to hell. I said, no, that's not my job to send people to hell. I said, no, I must do my best. I don't expect any reward from anybody at any time. He's ungrateful. He's given to hasty deeds. Everything he does in a hurry, and then he regrets afterwards. And on and on and on. What do you want to know? You want to know about Jesus, open J. Everything about Jesus. You want about Moses, everything about Moses. You want to know about marriage in Islam, under M. You want to know about divorce in Islam, under D. What do you want to know? Everything on your fingertips. Now, this book is yours. There's no bluff. You see, the only thing you have to do is collect these cards. These cards will be given out to you at the end of the talk. Each and every one is entitled to have a card. Only one, please. This card, you take it to 124 Queen Street, opposite the mosque in Queen Street. There's our Islamic television there in the window. Next door, there's our shop there, also Islamic Vision, 124, 126, the address is given here. You go and present this, that's all. You give this card, and they give you a book, this encyclopedia of 2,000 pages. How much? How much? Free. The only thing you have to do is take this little amount of trouble to go and give the card to get your book. Give your card, get your book. Now, what you do, suppose you take this card, and before you go out, somebody tells you, man, you will get caught with this book. This book is going to capture your mind. It's going to enslave your mind. And if you get terrified, what you do? Tear it and throw it away. There's one book gone. Just tear it and throw it away. But you owe it to yourself. You owe it to yourself. There are in the world today 1,000 million Muslims. Just from the point of view of knowing how their minds are working, just from that point alone, you want to know what does his book say about what and what and what. The guy, the Muslim fellow who comes to you, you make an appointment, and the guy turns up late. Now, we are all, I don't know, most especially we black people, Indians, Africans, Coloreds, we are all, Muslim or non-Muslim, we are all not punctual. Generally, we are a very unpunctual people. We don't value time. But now, if the Muslim fellow lets you down, you see, you have something to beat him with. And he can't fight back. You ask him, he says, you Muslim? He says, yes, I'm Muslim. He's very proud to say he's a Muslim, yes. And you're late? He said, well, he said, wait. You are going through a special training of punctuality. Once a year, for 30 days, you are so punctual to the second, to the minute. In your fasting month, you fast? He said, yes. You fast? He said, yes. When you break your fast, when do you break your fast? Certain fixed time, right? He said, right. And you wait with the watch on your hands. Or in the mosque, you wait for the muazzin to give the azans. Allah, immediately you break your fast. Right? Or in the old days, I used to live here as a young boy in Prince Edward Street, and we wait. You see, when the azan, the time for the breaking of the fast, or the time for the evening prayer comes, they switch on the light of the minaret. And the children are waiting in all the street corners. They watch for the light. And they start shouting all over. We used to hear those days. It says, Batti Silgi, Roja Chodo. You see, says, the light is on, break the fast. Light is on, break the fast. And everybody start. Straight away. No wasting of a second. Right? For 30 days you did it. To the second. And you can't meet an appointment. You are the fittest guys in the world for appointments, for punctuality. That's what you are trained for. And you give it to him. You find a guy eating pork chops. Say, you Muslim? He says, yeah. He says, I thought your book says you can't eat the pig. He said, no, this is ham. Said, look, now what you're talking about. That's a pig, man, piece of pig. Call it ham, call it bacon, call it Vienna sausages. It's pig. Tell him so. So, can you see now, if you just know, it puts you on a better wicket. And I want to put each and every one of you on a better wicket to put the guy right. My Muslim brothers and my children. Put them right. And you will get pleasure in it. Because, by God, because you are not creating offense. You say, look, this is your teaching, Mr. Deedat. This is your teaching. So, this is what I'm offering to you. This book, it's a book of ornamental for you from the knowledge point of view, the psychology of man, about religion in general. You want to know about karma. Have you heard the word karma? Yes. There's a Hindu term, karma, the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect. That every action has a reaction. Beautiful. We believe in that. Everything you do, it has its repercussions. Karma. You want to know about karma? Open K in this book, and you say about karma. You know about lingam. I don't know whether you know. Look under L, you'll find lingam. There. In this book, believe me. In this Quran, what do you want to know? So you owe it to yourself that you take this little trouble of carrying this card and going along and redeeming it for this book. Absolutely free of charge. Now, my dear children, Mr. Chairman and the lady here, I leave myself open to questions, any questions. You can ask any questions. Even criticism will be welcome. I assure you, my children. This old man can take it. I am yours. Yeah.